Yeah, I get right to the racks. Then I make that shit back. Run up on me, get shot in the back.
It's JT in the beautiful Scotch man. Back on the Darius today, Posse. Yeah. Duroc Crips versus the Mexican gangs. The Deadliest war in San Gabriel Valley, which is the SGV, which is where El Monte Flores is at. Because, you know, they're NK over there, so I feel like we had to cover more NK stuff. It's pretty interesting, right?
Let's do it.
These race wars, because they're not really, like, we don't learn about these. We only learn, like, as East Coast guys, we only learn about the Crips and Bloods in LA in the 90s. That's all we know about, right? In the history of
Excuse me, because I was totally ignorant being from the East Coast. I have a good friend who's a Crip that lived in LA.
Oh, wow.
And moves to New York. He kind of broke it down. I didn't know as a New Yorker. I thought first of all, I thought Compton was all black. It's mostly Mexican.
Now it was black back then, though.
Black back then, and then I didn't realize it was a North and a South. But if it's your first time tuning in, subscribe to this beautiful channel where we cover a lot of gang culture and we kind of bring you up to speed on what the hell's going on while you driving your Subaru in the suburbs, and it's like la 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 la.
It's JTV.
Subscribe to the channel, request the content, and then we react. I'm 67 years old. This fool just turned 16, man. It took him 2 years. He turned 16 years old. So we have a Discord below. Reach out to him on the gram, JBTV. If you want us to react to your music, hit me up. Pops React.
Is that right?
That was a long intro. We out here.
It sound like Batman.
Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode,
before we get started, who this dude?
Hood War Stories. We done it before.
You don't got a name?
Hood War Stories.
Your Hood War Stories, you sound like you laying on your back with a pack of Twinkies, chilling with the TV on the top of your ceiling, just chilling.
I'll be discussing the war between the Duroc Crips and Eastside Duarte and Monrovia Nuevo Barrio. The Duroc Crips are a black American gang located in Duarte, California. Duarte and Monrovia's black American history began in the 1870s when Lucky Baldwin recruited skilled workers on his Arcadia ranch. Some of these black people purchased land in Monrovia and some in Duarte for their families. Pasadena, Monrovia, and Duarte were the only San Gabriel Valley towns with significant black populations.
Yeah.
Both Monrovia and Duarte's black American communities would continue to grow into the 1970s. By the 1980s, black Americans constituted 9% of Duarte. Today, about 5% of the city is identified as black American. The Duroc Crips originated in the 1970s, making them one of the oldest gangs in the San Gabriel Valley.
Oh, wow.
They aligned themselves with all gangster Crips, such as the A-Trays in Los Angeles, and they banged the 3 strong. The Duroc Crips refer to Monrovia and Duarte as Rocktown. In our known to wear article of clothing by the Detroit Lions, the Durocs consist of 2 main cliques. The first clique is known as the Low End. It's located in the Duarte neighborhood between California Avenue and Mountain Avenue. Their primary block is Goodall Avenue, which is a dead-end street. Many rivals are apprehensive pulling up on Goodall Avenue because the Duroc Crips have a history of ambushing their enemies on this block.
Oh, shit.
Their second clique is known as the High End. This one is located in Monrovia, between the 210 freeway and downtown Monrovia. The Low End clique shares their neighborhood with the Duarte.
Like, without questioning the gangsterism of these guys, like, can I be a civilian and just kind of like chill, like go work at 7-Eleven and come home and have my crib and raise my kids? Or is it like that wild over there? Like,
Wow, West.
I would have to move out because you have to be affiliated.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below.
Eastside gang and the High End clique share their neighborhood with Monrovia Nuevo Barrio. The Durocs also have cliques in San Bernardino, Rialto, and Ontario. In Upland, California, the Durocs' main enemy are the surrounding Mexican gangs. They also have a deadly beef with the Pasadena Devil Lanes, who are a few cities over.
Oh, wow.
They beef with all San Bernardino hoods and are generally hated by mostly every gang from Pasadena
San Bernardino's
to
hella dangerous, I heard. Like,
They beef with all San Bernardino. That's crazy. Like,
everyone.
Like, this gotta be highly stressful, man. Like, let us know in the comments, like, how stressful it is, like, to go to high school and all that and walk around, right?
Bernardino.
All that beef.
The Durocs aren't the largest gang, but they go toe-to-toe with gangs 5 times their size by being extremely violent and always being on the offense. Sources close to the situation said that Durocs and the surrounding Mexican gangs were cool up until the 90s. The tension between the Durocs and Eastside Duarte and Nuevo Barrio escalated into a vicious war, which in turn became racially motivated. Dennis Weathersby was projected to be drafted in the 1st or 2nd round of the 2003 NFL Draft.
What?
However, on April 20th, 2003, only 3 days before the NFL Draft, around 5:30 p.m., Dennis and a childhood friend were getting into a car near Meridian Street and Citrus View Avenue. A white Explorer with 3 Latinos inside drove by and began shooting. A bullet entered Dennis's back, passed below his lungs and through his stomach, then entered his upper arm. He spent a few days in the hospital and his friend wasn't injured. Despite the incident, the Bengals still drafted him in the 4th round. He recovered from the shooting, but his injuries took longer than expected to heal. And he only played 4 games his rookie season. He and his friend were mistaken for Duroc gang members. A day after the Dennis shooting, the suspect's home on Shamrock Avenue was shot up by Duroc Crips. Juan Serna from Eastside Duarte was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder. He was sentenced to life with a minimum 15-year term.
It's crazy how some people are like get attempted murders and get life. I guess it just depends on your personal record, right?
A lot of that, yeah, you got like what they call strikes.
Yeah, if you have like a strikes already, probably.
And a lot of it depends on the judge. Like sometimes we do so many stories here. Go check out all our documentaries where we cover a lot of like history with a lot of like gang violence and just like a lot of like crimes and a lot of people get off or they get like a slap on the wrist. So it kind of depends on what county you in, your rap sheet history, who your lawyers are.
Exactly.
Some people get off blatantly shoot somebody, but it's self-defense.
Wow.
And 25 years for the firearm enhancement. By 2006, the tension erupted into a full-blown race war. Between 2006 and 2008, the Durocs versus Duarte Eastside in Nuevo Barrio turned the 2 neighboring cities into a battlefield, with over 71 shootings between the 3 gangs. On August 9th, 2006, at around 10 p.m., members of Eastside Duarte drove by the home of Vincent, who was a Duroc Crip affiliate. However, Vincent's father Michael was in the garage sleeping when Eastside Duarte members opened fire. A bullet penetrated the wall and struck Michael in the upper back. He died from his injuries. Payback came within hours. 3 outraged Duroc Crips spied an Eastside Duarte member. Marcus was sipping a beer outside a house on Short Avenue with a group of friends. This was less than a mile away from the first shooting.
Wow.
The Crips emerged and fired with a .45 and a Tech 9, but they missed their target. Instead, a bullet struck Nicole in the face, fatally wounding her. She was an aspiring gym teacher. During the evening of February 9th, 2007, Mario, Rayshawn, Michelle, Melvin, and Jamila went for a drive in her mother's car. Mario stopped at a red light, and the red car stopped immediately beside them. A Latino male was driving in the red car, and a female was in the passenger seat. Mario and Melvin began challenging the occupants of the red car, shouting, "Hold up, where y'all niggas from? And bitch, what you looking at?"
Oh.
Melvin waved a gun around and pointed at the car, which was about 4 feet away. With the light still red, the driver of the red car attempted to make a U-turn to get away from the silver car, but the street was not wide enough.
Pause.
Mario turned and tried to...
Yo, the narrator sound like he stood up now. He finished eating his Twinkies and stuff.
He stood up and shit like that.
Now he's like he talking into the mic. Let's go.
Yo, but that's crazy. People be killing innocents, bro. Like it's regular. Like that shit.
Yeah, like a lot of mistaken identity and stuff like that, and it's pretty shocking sometimes.
Yeah.
block the red car to prevent its escape. But the driver of the red car was able to make a 3-point U-turn and get away.
Oh, wow.
They followed the red car for about 2 or 3 minutes, driving at high speeds, but eventually lost sight of it. The driver of the red car was Richard, who lived nearby in a single-family home in Monrovia, along with his young son, his wife Nora, and her family. At the time, Richard had a shaven head and was wearing a white t-shirt. He had no gang affiliation, but realized he might be mistaken for a Hispanic gang member. He knew there had been recent violent confrontations between Black Americans and Latinos in the area. Nora and Lucy's mother Celia were at home the evening of the car chase incident. Around 10 p.m., Celia heard a knock at the door.
Damn.
When she answered the door, she was greeted by a hail of bullets. Celia heard pop, 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 and felt something hot on her shoulder. She was shot in the shoulder, neck, arm, leg, and a bullet grazed her chin as she fell to the floor. She was 54 years old at the time. She was rushed to the hospital where she was treated and released. The day after the shooting, Lucy was at a shopping mall and saw one of the passengers in the Honda that had chased them. She recognized him as the passenger who had been sitting directly behind the driver. Mario Alford, Melvin Mapps, and Rashawn McDaniels from Duroc were all convicted of attempted murder. Mario was sentenced to 68 years to life, and Rashawn was sentenced to 40 years to life. 3 days after the front door shooting, 3 Latino members of Duarte Eastside
Wow.
Shot a black
Whoever
civilian.
that judge is in that county, yo,
Not
he was
playing.
giving them football numbers.
And they straight get back. Like one group shoot, one group. 3 hours later, somebody else get shot,
and this is
shoot,
getting
shot.
hit. And this is getting hit.
Innocents getting hit, bystanders. Then the next day somebody gets shot. 2 days later somebody gets shot. Then an hour later somebody else gets shot. Like it's the Wild Wild West, bro.
Yeah.
On the corner of Mountain Avenue and Elster Street.
That was shooter shit, y'all.
2 Latino men were arrested in connection with the attack, and a shotgun was recovered. On April 17th, a Duroc Crip shot a Latino civilian on the 700 block of Monterey Avenue. The following week, 2 Latinos shoot a black civilian with a 9mm and a .45, injuring his right legs. A Latino member of Duarte Eastside was later arrested, and a .38 was recovered. The prosecutors rejected the case. On July 8th, 2007, a Latino male fired a gun at a Duroc Crip. A member of Duarte Eastside was later arrested in connection with the shooting, but the case was dismissed due to lack of evidence. 5 days later, 2 Duroc Crips fired a gun at a Latino male, wounding him twice in the head. A black male was later arrested in connection with the shooting.
Wow.
Just a few hours later, Duarte Eastside retaliated when a Latino member opened fire at a trio of black people, including 2 women and a male.
Wow.
A suspect was later arrested, but released when test results showed he did not have any gunshot residue. Shortly after that incident, a black male fired a .380 at a trio of Latinos,
Shit.
which included 2 men
Back
and a
and forth.
woman, leaving 1 victim with a grazing wound to the back. 2 Duroc Crips were arrested in connection with the shooting, but the case was dismissed due to an uncooperative victim. At this point, the race war had catapulted into a new stratosphere. On December 12, 2007,
Wow.
Hector was riding his motorcycle with some friends in Duarte when they were ambushed by black males, firing a .380 and a .22 handgun. Hector and another Latino
Yo, a
male
lot
were
of these
shot.
places, bro, in Cali, they don't even just have nothing to do. They're just out there just killing each other, right?
It's crazy, bro.
There's nothing else better to do.
I don't know. I'm confused because I'm like, and then where's the police authority? Like nobody's like, yo, we gotta shut this down. Like we can't have. What about the innocent civilians? Like if these guys want to get at each other, but there's no FBI, there's no police. Like
Rico indictment.
Rico, clean it up. Like what we doing here?
Firing a .380 and a .22 handgun. Hector and another Latino male were shot. Hector was hit multiple times in the head, chest, and back.
Oh, shit.
He died at 6:25 p.m. On January 12, 2008. David grabbed his bike and went for a ride. He stopped at a convenience store and bought snacks. He then pedaled down an empty sidewalk along Peck Road. He could hear kids playing basketball nearby. As he neared a church where he volunteered, a car passed, going in the opposite direction. He barely noticed. He heard car tires crunching on asphalt behind him. He glanced, expecting a friend. Instead, he heard, "Hey, fool." The gun was gray. It had a slider. Behind the barrel, he saw firearms brace to fire in the face of a Latino man who was a former classmate. The gunman shouted, "Dirt rock." In that moment, David's mind was racing. He said to himself, "Don't panic. Watch the barrel. Duck." Suddenly, he was falling, shot to the ground. He looked up at the church steeple and the cross. He heard more shots, but stopped feeling them. A chill crept up his legs. The sedan then disappeared down the street. Children began spilling out of a nearby apartment building. He was having trouble breathing. He felt sleepy. As Davian lay bleeding on the grass, he played dead. Through droopy eyelids, he watched cars brake for a stop sign across the street, then zoom off. He recognized one driver as a Latina neighbor, who looked away. A red Ford then slowed with the windows rolled down. Davian took his chance. "Ma'am, I need help. I've been shot." The car stopped, and a white lady with long red hair jumped out.
Oh, shit.
She grabbed Davian's hand and dialed 911. It was 4:57 p.m. The woman told the dispatcher that there was a young black American male who had been shot, and that there was also a lot of children out as well, so they should hurry up. "I can't move my legs." Davian cried loud enough for all the operators to hear. His uncle grabbed the church's water hose and held it to Davian's lips. Davian stared up at the church. "I don't want to die like this." He felt himself passing out,
Crazy.
eyes rolling back into his head. He gripped the grass beneath him. His uncle was shouting his nickname. "Dada, come on!" Paramedics arrived and loaded Davian into the ambulance. Davian awoke in intensive care. Doctors told him he was at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, listed under a fake name as precaution. He had been shot twice, in the left flank and in the right buttock. One bullet lodged into his ribs, another splintered. Surgeons labored for 5 hours to patch his left lung, but they could do nothing to repair his L1 vertebrae. His legs were paralyzed.
Oh,
Days later, a detective showed up at Davian's bedside with a series of mugshots. Davian spotted the shooter immediately. Jimmy Santana had taken gym classes with him in middle school, but later joined Nuevo Barrio. He circled Jimmy's photo. Beside it, he wrote, "It's him." Davian was scared, but not just for himself. Davian's younger brothers looked a lot like him. 17 days after the shooting, deputies arrested Jimmy at his mother's house in Duarte. Davian was scheduled to testify. At Jimmy's preliminary hearing, 4 days after being released from the hospital, months went by as the case dragged on. In September, he returned to Monrovia High School, back among his friends. He thrived. He almost forgot about the trial. Then one day, a few Latinos drove by his house shouting threats. Sometime later, David was called into the principal's office. Sheriff deputies were waiting. They told him they intercepted a threatening messaging gang code at the county jail. He apparently was being targeted. Davian had to be relocated for safety reasons. At trial, David pointed at Jimmy as the person who shot him. Jimmy Santana was ultimately found guilty of attempted murder. He was sentenced to 40 years to life.
Yeah.
A day after David was shot.
Damn, that judge, I'm telling you. I know you guys probably know the judge, bro. There's probably one judge who was giving football numbers back then.
Yeah, that whole, even if it's multiple judges, they're like, yo, we gonna lock these dudes up.
Yeah, they agreed or some shit.
I mean, rightfully so, man. I mean, you shooting people kind of wild, wild west. I mean, there has to be some accountability after a while. Like,
Yeah.
remember, keep in mind these guys are super young, not making excuses for them. But when you're young, you do a lot of not knucklehead stuff, you know.
Shot on January 13th, 2008. Sander Rollins, who was a black male in his 60s, was getting out of his vehicle when a light-colored Honda Civic with two Latinos inside drove by and began shooting. Sanders was struck in the back. While dying, Sanders was held by his nephew, Nicholas. He was taken by an ambulance to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 8 p.m.
63.
More than a year prior to Sanders' death, Nicholas's father's car was shot up by Latino gang members. The day after Sanders died, Nicholas and Ray Sean, who are both nephews of Sanders, got some information and heard that their uncle's killer lived near West Cypress Avenue and Primrose Avenue. Nicholas and Ray Sean borrowed a gray Dodge and went for a drive. At around 8 p.m., Flavio and Ambrosio were walking on Magnolia Avenue. Flavio noticed a gray Dodge creep up behind them. The vehicle's headlights were unlit. When Flavio and Ambrosio turned onto West Cypress Avenue, the car followed.
Wow.
The Dodge stopped about 15 feet away, and the passenger began letting off shots with what sounded like a machine gun. One bullet went through Ambrosio's jacket and t-shirt, but he was unharmed. Ambrosio's son,
Lucky.
Christian Martinez, was later charged with the Sanders killing. Fast forward a few weeks later to January 26, 2008. 3 teenagers, Samantha, Jennifer, and Abraham, had been drinking alcohol and smoking weed behind an apartment complex on Peck Road in Monrovia. The apartment complex was between two gang territories. At about 9 p.m., Samantha, Jennifer, and Abraham walked to the front of the complex and down the sidewalk. Abraham then heard a noise that sounded like a firecracker. When he looked behind them, he saw 2 black males holding guns and backing away. Shot after shot after shot from what sounded like a submachine gun or an Uzi. An eyewitness then heard a voice say, "Fucking bitches. Don't fuck with us. That's what y'all get."
What?
The 2 men ran across
Shooting
Peck
at
Road
girls?
and turned on Windland Way. Samantha was shot 8 times.
Yo.
In the head, neck, arm, back, and thigh. She died as a result of her wounds. Jennifer was shot in the head.
I'm move out of here. I'm gonna go out of here. No, don't stay here. It's scary.
Where are you planning to move to?
Asusa?
Okay,
I find a place better, like more
What-
quiet.
What made you decide to?
Yo. What did they possibly do that they...
Gang affiliation.
Yeah. Probably
Or
set up.
sometimes things are just random. Like it's
Yeah.
just random misidentification, or she knows he knows she. You know what I mean? Crazy 16-year-old girl, man. Rest in peace.
That's all.
It's mind-blowing. I mean, since I've been growing up in this neighborhood, period, like, these apartments have always been something you walk around, like, you don't even look at them because you're scared about something that's gonna happen. And I've been waiting for it. Finally something this bad's happening, they're gonna crack down on the place.
Tell me what you noticed about the building and the people that live in it.
Well,
Well,
at first they
shouldn't be on
never even
camera.
took care of it. It was just a beat down, run down apartment with rats infested, cockroaches. I mean, now it looks like they fixed it up a little bit, but there's still all the gang violence and stuff.
Abraham identified Nicholas in a photo lineup and said he had seen him around in the neighborhood. Nicholas and Deshaun Blackwell from the Duroc Crips were ultimately convicted of first-degree murder. They were sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd like to
you know,
thank you
I'm a
guys
square and shit, so I can say this, but like, you gotta give them life at that point. Like, y'all just killing
Yeah, just like
girls and
that comes with the gangster territory. You go to jail or you're dead.
yeah.
I mean, there's no other way. You know what I'm saying?
It's JTV, Furious Hair Channel.
Right here.
Peace.
And I know how I get, so I gotta stay low, now move my knot. I don't trust no nigga, I don't trust no man, ain't no friends, everybody get shot. You never know how nigga gon' throw, I'm hitting the floor with a couple of shots. You better move, you better duck, either way to go.